Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Mouthing Off with Mike, the only wrestling podcast that doesn't have an only wrestling podcast this week. So look, listen, AEW. I didn't plan on covering AEW until after I was done with all of my WrestleMania content. But it's got to be said, ladies and gentlemen, what is going on in AEW, ladies and gentlemen? So this past week on Dynamite, we had a pretty good advertised show. Adam Copeland was taking on Penta El Zero Miedo for the TNT Championship, which opened Dynamite, which was a fantastic match. Toni Storm was in action. Mariah May, was in action, I should say. Mariah May's doing kind of her little cosplay as Toni Storm recently. Now, look, when everything's said and done, the Young Bucks had been advertising, and AEW and Tony Khan had been advertising that we were going to finally get to take a look at the footage from All In. Now, if you're not up to date with what's going on in professional wrestling, that does not pertain to WWE, TNA, New Japan, so on and so forth. If you're not an AEW fan, I'll give you the Spark Notes version. There was a whole brawl out back in the fall of, what is it now? 21, 22, I want to say. And CM Punk was taken off TV. He was injured, and there was suspension. The Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, there was a whole big to-do. Everybody was suspended for a few months. Everybody starts making their way back. CM Punk makes his grand return, and we get a new Saturday night show for AEW, Collision. Everything going fine. CM Punk unveils the Real World Championship. We get, we're going to probably head to some sort of undisputed title fight down the line here, looking at the latter half of 2023. That doesn't happen. All In Wembley takes place in August of 2023, and we have more beef. So Jack Perry, for a few weeks, had been going and kind of been a menace, and he wanted to do Real Glass in his match with Hook. A lot of people said, no, Jack, please, we don't want you to break a rental car. CM Punk on Ariel Helwani's show even said, look, if you want to do that to rental cars, you're going to cause a lot of the boys in the back and the girls in the back to not be able to rent cars from that company. They're not going to rent to pro wrestlers. So long story short, everything goes fine. Here we're at the pre-show of All In Wembley, Hook and Jack Perry for the FTW Championship. Jack Perry wins the match. During the match, he goes up to the camera and he says, Real Glass, cry me a river. And the rest is history, ladies and gentlemen. There's a confrontation with CM Punk backstage. CM Punk is then fired. Tony Khan comes on national television, says he has never feared for his life like he did the day at All In professional wrestling. Blah, blah, blah. CM Punk is fired with just cause. A couple months later, CM Punk returns to WWE after 10 long years at Survivor Series in Chicago, Illinois, and to a grand reception. Positive outpouring from the fellow wrestlers in WWE. The only people really that weren't too happy to see him, Seth Rollins. Seems Seth and him are working fine, have a great working relationship right now. They've been able to spitball on some promos. So the CM Punk is a cancer rhetoric, has been disproved. Now, look, if you're a CM Punk fan, this footage did nothing for you. This didn't turn you in the other direction. This didn't say, now you hate CM Punk. This footage, if you're a CM Punk hater, didn't make you more of a CM Punk hater. It already kind of confirmed what you already knew about the guy. So what did this footage do? Absolutely nothing at all. We saw basically what Punk had said. Now, there are a few details that Punk did leave out or maybe forgot or didn't want to include because it makes him look bad. Yes, he did swing at Jack Perry. No, he did not connect with a punch. Yes, he did choke him a little bit, like CM Punk said on Ariel's show. And yes, he did in fact lunge a little aggressively towards Tony Khan, but that does not mean Tony Khan feared for his life. You can tell from his body language and from what he said on Ariel's show that he basically told Tony Khan that he fucking quits and that this company's a fucking joke and you better fucking fix it. You could tell by his body language. He gets separated. He's taken off. So people telling me on social media, particularly this guy, that I'm defending assault. No, I'm not defending assault at all. Have you never been in a fight? Have you never had a disagreement with, hell, a friend? Because I've had plenty of disagreements. My man Steve, if he's watching this or listening to this, he can tell you firsthand, me and him growing up, we didn't see eye to eye in a few different instances. And did we come to blows? Yes, we did. Punches were thrown, headlocks were done. Guess what happened? After everything was said and done, we shook hands. We're still friends. we're better friends because of it. So for people to sit there and tell me, wow, that he assaulted the guy and this is unjust. Yes, you're right. He should not have put his hands on the guy. But we also do not know what Jack Perry said to him, because he could have said something stupid. He could have said, well, your wife loves it, or I'll steal your wife next or something, Cry Me a River. We don't know what he was said. We don't even know if those cameras had audio. So for people to sit here and get on their high horse and say, oh, well, he should be in jail and he should be, there should be laws and this and that, please, blow it out of your ass. Please do me a favor, because this is just two pro wrestlers, two massive egos colliding, okay? Pun intended. When you get two massive egos and they collide, you end up with something like this. We know Jack Perry was acting like a chicken shit little brat because CM Punk said so on the show. Now, is that true? I don't know. But why else would Tony Schiavone look like he was in utter disgrace when the footage was aired? I don't think Tony Schiavone's a liar. Tony Schiavone's been a legend in wrestling for 40 plus years. And I think Tony Schiavone actually went to CM Punk and said to CM Punk, look, we gotta talk to this kid. He's acting a fool. He was cursing out production guys. He's cursing out medical guys. He's cursing out Tony Schiavone backstage to the point where Punk had to get involved, thus, in fact, leading to this point. And Punk even said it, and I believe Punk, whether I'm a fool or not. What does the guy have to benefit from lying? He's not with the company anymore. It does not matter what happens. He's in WWE. He's happy. It's to the point where WWE wrestlers are clowning on AEW for this. This is foolish. The footage itself, yes, does show CM Punk putting him in a little chokehold. And it shows it immediately getting broken up. So if that is your, be all end all when it comes to CM Punk, then fine. Look, if you're a fan of Punk, you probably became more of a fan of him after this, because you're like, look, the guy's acting a fool, then you know what? Maybe he deserves to get slapped up. If you're not a fan of CM Punk, then yeah, you probably are like, well, this guy's a fucking asshole. Why would he put his hands on an innocent kid? Not everybody's innocent in these things. Look, there's two sides to every story. We got CM Punk's. We got kind of AEW's side of it, but we don't have audio. And that's security footage. And 9 times out of 10, there's no audio on security footage. Now, if there is audio, it was conveniently left out. So you tell me then, ladies and gentlemen, this is, once again, we are 8 months removed from this whole debacle. We're almost a full year. It'll be a year in August this year. And we're still fucking talking about this. Grow up. Please. This does nothing for AEW's product. This does nothing for guys like Ospreay, for Okada, for girls like Mercedes, for Chris, for Willow, for any of the talent backstage. This does nothing. Nothing. Your show wasn't even trending on Twitter. CM Punk was. So goddamn, this was a shame. It's to the point they're copywriting the footage on social media. That's why you won't see me post any footage of this shit. Because I don't want to blow up my accounts. I'm new in this game. I'm not going to ruin that because some bullshit security footage. This is nonsense. This is something for people to talk about. This was a big distraction. And Tony Khan's whole reasoning behind this was to sell tickets for Dynasty. Dog, you could have sold tickets at Dynasty by coming together with good storylines for Dynasty, for booking good matches. Not some fucking bullshit clickbait son fucking footage. Come on, man. Grow up. This is past the point. I'm a day one AEW guy. Day one. I was there. Double or Nothing. 2019. I drove to fucking Vegas on 2 hours of sleep to go to this show. It was at this point, until WrestleMania 40, it was my favorite live event I had ever attended in person. My favorite match was on that show. Cody Rhodes, Dustin Rhodes, brother versus brother, the bloodiest match I've ever seen live and in person. One of my favorite matches to this day. AEW got me out of my wrestling funk. I fucking hated watching wrestling. WWE particularly. Fucking hated it in 2019. I watched more AEW from 2019, 2020, 21, and up until Vince was fucking booted out of WWE. Then I started getting back into WWE with Triple H, and now I'm, way into WWE than I was back in 2019. So please, for the sake of the fans, stop doing this shit. For the sake of your fucking wrestlers, your production, your creative, stop fucking doing this bullshit. Focus on AEW. Focus on what got you to the fucking dance. Okay, and I'm sorry for cursing, and I'm sorry for getting hot here, but it's fucking stupid. It's asinine. All right, I paid to watch this on the fucking plane. I paid for the Wi-Fi for an hour so I could watch this bullshit. Why are we wasting time on a guy that's not even in your fucking company when you have one of the greatest rosters ever assembled in professional wrestling? Stop it. Get help. Please. I beg you, for the sake of pro wrestling, for the sake of having alternatives, for the sake of having wrestlers employed 24/7 and working and making good money. Stop this bullshit. It does nothing for your company. It does nothing for your talent. It does nothing for your TV rights deals that are coming up. Because if I'm Turner Broadcasting, I'm looking at this and I'm saying, why are you posting footage of a guy who's in WWE? He doesn't help us whatsoever. I'm seriously looking at this as a magnifying glass. I'm not holding up the sign, the end is nigh, the end is nigh. Absolutely not. AEW is not dead yet. But if you keep doing this bullshit, you bet your bottom dollar AEW will be dead. That's it, and that's all I'm going to say on this subject matter. I hope next week we get back to the roots of AEW and we move on from this, because this, pathetic. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. If you haven't already, take a look at my Mouthing Off with Mike Mania, WrestleMania recap and review with 4 Sides of the Ring, Championship Culture, Mike Davis from Drop the Mic, and of course, a very special guest that I have been looking forward to chatting about with. He's a guy, day one. We go way back to the high school days. My man is an independent wrestler on the circuit on the East Coast. So hopefully we get him on the show so he can give you his WrestleMania thoughts. And hopefully we can get an interview nailed down with him in the coming future. So thank you guys so much. But seriously, I love AEW, and I want AEW to survive and thrive. But shit like this ain't it.